All right, another day, another podcast. Nerdy Virgin podcast. Joshua Snyder. Oh, this is very official, the way I'm starting this out. It's almost like I'm doing a captain's log for this podcast. That I'm beginning to think after 5 years of doing this podcast and having not really go anywhere. Maybe I need to have guests on it. maybe I need to use professional equipment. Maybe I need to market the podcast. Does anyone know that I'm doing the podcast? Have I just been basically making recordings by myself, for myself for 5 years? Has that been what's going on? That's entirely possible. Lawns. I'm walking, doing my walk through the neighborhood, seeing these lawns. There are nice looking lawns. I find as I get older, I get a bit conflicted. No, you know what? What am I saying? I'm not conflicted. I'm trying to be politically correct with you. I got to stop being politically correct with you. Look, lawns are stupid. It's a waste of water. That's my hot take on it. I just said that as I was walking by somebody's house, and I think she was working on her lawn. So now I'm hyper conscious of that. See, it's better for me to do this in the middle of the night when no one's around. But you know what? We're living in a water crisis. Like I'm walking by this house where they've done nothing with their lawn. Like they're not working on it at all, and there's a bunch of weeds, and it looks fine. 2 properties where I think no one's living there, and those look better to me than the well-manicured lawns. The well-manicured lawns, first of all, there's patches of dead grass because we're in a desert, and secondly, it's a lie. It's a friggin' lie. This isn't what is supposed to be growing here. And it's cut perfectly. And the obsessive compulsive part of me likes it. And the reality of the me that's a bit more keyed into reality just sees it as a lie. This isn't what is supposed to be growing here. But then what is there supposed to be? Now I'm terrified that I pissed her off. Maybe she didn't hear me. Which leads me to my other issue. I hate that I still care what other people think. I'm really looking for that freedom of not caring what other people think. And I think, let's explore this. I think the fear is that I will not be accepted. Thus, I work so hard to say the right things that I come home at the end of the night exhausted from all of the lying that I'm doing. What if I just let that go? Because the other thing I notice that I do is, if I have to say no to somebody, I find myself getting angry. I'm angry with them that they're forcing me to say no, and potentially now I have to deal with their negative reaction to not getting what they want. So I'm getting angry before they're getting angry, and they may not even get angry. So I have to be honest, but from a loving place. Maybe that's what I need to work on. Somebody said, "Do you want me to take you to the airport?" I don't say no. I say, from a place of love, no. No, I will not help you. And I'm sure that karmically won't come to bite me. But honesty. Okay, let's just practice that. Let me just practice honesty. I'm walking by a Kia Soul. Okay? I don't like the way the car looks. It's too boxy. I don't like boxy cars. I've never liked boxy cars. Maybe if it's a Jeep, but even then, I'm not a huge fan of Jeeps. Why? What's wrong with boxy? I think the first image that comes up into my mind when I think about boxy cars is, what if I need to flee? It doesn't look aerodynamic enough for me to evade. Now, I remember, as I recall from an episode of Jay Leno's Garage, actually that the sleekest looking cars aren't necessarily the most aerodynamic. Because there's one particular car he was driving that actually did not look that sleek, but was the most aerodynamic of all the cars that he had. I don't remember what the name of that car is, so this information ultimately doesn't really help you. On the other hand, I wouldn't want to drive any of the sleek sports cars either, because they apparently don't do well in crashes. I want a car that will protect me. I want a car that will protect me and accept me for who I am. I want a car that will read my screenplay and go, there's potential here. All right, so I'm passing by a tree right now that is this old tree. The roots are coming up. Pretty soon they're probably pushing the sidewalk up with it. There's weeds growing out of the tree. That I like. That's an honest tree to me. That tree's been through that tree's been through it. That tree has seen some things. I of course referenced the great Burbank catastrophe of 1965. I don't think anything bad has ever happened here. Well, I'm sure, but beyond emotional, existential, domestic bad things. But will anything that have happened here be remembered in history? I should look up the history of Burbank and just see, just so I'm not talking out of my butt. But I like that. I'm not feeling very vulnerable right now. I feel like I'm kind of feel like I'm in a defensive vibe. I think it's because I had these nightmares. The problem that I'm running into lately is that whenever I get a day where I can sleep in, I'm finding that the more I sleep in, the later in the day it gets, the more I just have nightmares that are disturbing, and then I wake up in a not too thrilled state of mind. So either I don't get enough sleep and I feel tired, or I do get enough sleep and I feel tired from the running I'm doing in my unconscious. Yeah, it's just with me, it's nonstop anxiety. Nonstop anxiety. I'm always worrying about something. And whatever thing I'm worried about, what I've noticed is, let's say something comes along and it's relieved. Like the thing I was worried about either didn't happen or it resolved itself. Well then, magically, either something else will happen, or I will find something else that happens, and I will worry about that. And thus it's a continuous cycle. So I'm trying to figure out, well, can I somehow use this, can I find a way to turn this to a positive? And the only thing I can think of is that if I'm anxious, it means that there's energy. So what I should probably do is do something. Stop thinking about stuff and do something. Because if there's energy, it means I have the energy to go do something. Like I'm taking this walk and doing this podcast. So at least I'm putting my energy into something. It'll hopefully one day yield beautiful, beautiful flowers of dividends. Even though I'm not supposed to be attached to the fruits of my actions. I should be podcasting just for the sake of podcasting, with no hope that it will ever amount to anything. And I should be at peace with that, and I am not. maybe be more present. What was the whole point of this? Just trying to be honest and present as I take this walk. See, now I'm walking past this house, and they've landscaped their house to be kind of a desert vista. And that's nice. That makes sense. Plants that could survive in a desert environment. They are on board. I like this. We're in a water shortage. We need to be doing more of that. And it looks lovely. This house, they're using rocks, a rock bed, that's fine. And 1 or 2 bushes. Okay, easy peasy. But yeah, but here's the conflict. The thing I like about the well-kept lawn is that there is a bit of nostalgia for me. It reminds me of summers growing up, which is odd because I hated growing up. I wouldn't want to repeat it. And yet, I have some nostalgia. You know what it's nostalgia of? I think it's not so much that I miss those times, but I miss being that age, seeing the future as a blank canvas with possibilities. So I'm actually pining for the days in the past when I was pining for the days in the future. I'm pining for nothing. I'm pining for fantasy. Because I looked up a bunch of people I went to high school and college with just to see what they look like now. And the thing is that what hit me is, this is the phrase, you can never go home again. They are not, whatever they are now, they are not what they were when we were all in high school. They are and they aren't. They're something different. And if I were to talk to them, I would not be transported back into the past. It would not be this magical, trip to memory lane. It would be something new because they are what they are now. This is getting very philosophical. I'm walking by, I think that is a Lamborghini. Is that a Lamborghini? That is a Lamborghini. Now that's a car. I like the way the Lamborghini looks. I do. It's very low to the ground, so I could make my escape as long as I was on a paved road. If any part of the escape involved any kind of off-roading or even a road with occasional potholes, that would be it. I would be captured. Maybe I should go for the Jeep. I had to drive my boss's truck, which is, I rarely drive any trucks. My car is a Honda, and I found that driving that truck felt great. I felt like, maybe I could build a house. It gave me kind of a false sense of, maybe I could find that treasure. It gave me a bit of a confidence boost. Maybe it's that I was physically higher because I'm sitting in the truck. See, this is why I'm pissed I'm not taller. Maybe there's something to it. The higher up I get, that doesn't apply if I'm walking up a mountain. Then I feel the opposite. But if I was driving up the mountain in a truck, I'd be like, this isn't a mountain, this is a hill. What mountain? I had to drive the truck because my boss has an electric car and couldn't start for whatever reason. Brand new car, fantastic technology, electric, computers, all computers. It's one giant computer. Couldn't start. And there was something about, the old reliable truck that I felt safe. And as I was driving that truck, destroying the atmosphere of our planet, I felt wonderful. All right, well, I walked up the hill. Now I'm walking down the hill. Had a lovely moment of thinking about how good it was being in that truck. And I got to tell you, I'm at a loss for words a bit. Why do I continually do this instead of, I don't know, planning what I'm going to talk about? And yet at the same time, there's something about the spontaneity of what I'm doing right now that I enjoy. But the question is, does anyone want to listen to this? Would anyone else want to enjoy this? We'll find out. What do you mean we'll find out? I have the metrics on the podcast website that I'm using. I think somebody's downloading it. I don't know who. Shout out if you're downloading it. Maybe all my social media handles are @nerdyvirgin. Just add me and just say, yes, I am listening to it. Just for my own personal edification. Just to know that somewhere out there in the darkness, my voice is being heard. Just to know. I should probably have said that at the beginning of the podcast because, well, actually, this would be a good test. Because if anyone's hanging in by this point, that's probably a good sign. What's this one? This is the Toyota Camry, which, and here's my complaint against all these cars. All of these cars look alike now. There's no personality. Toyota, Honda, it's all the same. They look, you know what they look like? They look like we kind of made it to the future, but we didn't. Because they're sort of sleek, but they're sort of not sleek. It's like we're somewhere in between the cool future of Back to the Future 2 and the horrible future. Like we almost did it. Maybe that should be America's new slogan. We almost did it. Almost. But see, now my concern there is here's where my mind went. I was watching part of that new Mike Myers show, The Pentaveret, and there's a joke where it's an ad for a Canadian game show called Close Enough. The premise of the game show is if you get close, you still win. So I'm afraid that is a little too close to what I was just talking about when I was riffing on America Almost There, and having this panic attack of what if I'm sued. Now, that right there presupposes, number one, anyone's listening to this podcast. Number two, I'm making an enormous amount of money from this podcast. Neither I think are true. And number three, that it would be too close. Technically, there are similarities, but I think that he's trying to make a different point. The underlying point of his joke is that Canadians are too nice, and the underlying point of my joke is that Americans are too incompetent. So I think there's enough of a distance that I'll probably be okay. And the fact that I had to articulate that for myself. So here's this car I keep passing. What is this car? What is this? Road Force Luxury. I don't even know what kind of car that is. It's it's like a sophisticated Jeep. It looks like a Jeep that would be in a RoboCop movie, but not from the broke police force, but from OCP, from the expensive company. It would be the Jeep that like the bad guy in the RoboCop movie drives, and not like the whatever the evil robot is, but it would be the whatever executive works at OCP. That would be the Jeep that he drives on weekends. It's the weekend secondary villain Jeep. That's what I just walked past. The weekend secondary villain Jeep. Phenomenal. All right, coming up on a Lexus again. I don't know. It's the same complaint that it looks kind of sleek, but not. This particular Lexus looks looks a little mean. Looks a little bit like not necessarily a bully, but someone who's not gonna. You wouldn't even ask if this Lexus were a person. You wouldn't even ask to go to take. Could he take you to the airport? You wouldn't even ask, because he's just gonna give you this look that's like, why are you talking to me? He's not going to go out of his way to bully you, but at the same token, he doesn't suffer fools gladly. Should that be the slogan of Lexus? Cars for people who don't like to talk to other people. I might actually, I might buy that car if I had the Lexus money. I don't have the Lexus money. For that to happen, this podcast would have to get one listener, at least. Now, I'm noticing, the thought popped into my head, boy, this walk's taken a long time. And that was immediately followed by the thought of, am I getting older? It's not that I feel tired after doing this. I'm feeling okay, but just that moment of, all right, when are we done yet? That's just another reminder that I'm inching closer to death with every passing moment. Maybe that's what it is. I need to be in the moment more. Take this Kia, for example. Kia is, what is it? Ah, yes, the Kia Spectra. Right? The Kia Spectra. EX, if that means anything to you. And I think I think that's a 10-year-old Kia. And I look at that car and I feel like I'm looking in a mirror. I feel like it's a car that looks like it knows a lot about spreadsheets. That's what it is. It's a car that says, I'm taking someone to a cubicle. That's what I'm doing. I don't know what you're doing, but we're not going on an off-roading adventure. We're going to Ralph's to pick up some Tylenol. That's what this car was built for. Kia, because sometimes you need to go to Ralph's to pick up Tylenol. And that's what I'm here to do for you. See, here's my take. And I've said this before, and I'll say this again. Batman needs to get a Honda. It should be just a generic-looking Honda that looks like every other Honda. Because if he's supposed to be a ninja who works out of the shadows, it might be useful if he did not drive a car that was obviously the only one of its kind that is loud and shoots fire out of its ass. I think there's a part of me that wants to see a Batman movie where he is an actual ninja, and instead of jumping into a room full of bad guys and beating them all up, he just poisons them in their sleep, and then it's over. And he achieves exactly what he needed to achieve. Like Batman, so do you train? Do you hang upside down? Do you lift all those tires? And Batman's like, no, I don't. I just sneak in and do what I need to do and sneak out again. It's really all it is. It's that's all I do. Batman. Again, this is where I'm conflicted. There are some very lovely lawns here and some very lovely landscaping, and I think I think what's conflating me is that just being near nature, and when I say nature, be aware, I'm talking about the suburbs. That for me is nature. That just happened. Let's just get that on paper. That just happened. Landscaping. Nature for me is the suburbs. That thought just came out of me. Maybe that's the whole reason why I'm doing this. Maybe because my problem, is that I get so caught up in my own neuroses that I don't even notice what I'm actually saying and doing. And maybe the reason I need to do this podcast, and maybe the reason why I need to do stand-up, is I need to stop and say, this is what I'm doing, just so I can know. Just so I can be aware and go, oh, that just happened. And perhaps cultivate a sense of detachment. I'm also realizing that it is Mother's Day, and I need to call my mother, which I will do at a certain point. I say this because I saw a woman holding a balloon that was probably a Happy Mother's Day balloon. I didn't see the writing on it because I was too busy being in my own narcissistic world. I gotta head back to the club now because gotta make sure the headliner gets his parking space. I think it's been about a month since I cut out all the snack foods, and I've been eating a lot healthier. I'm due to go in and get blood tests again. A bit terrifying. If they still find that the cholesterol's high, I am going to declare war on the world. Because what am I doing? I had 2 pieces of toast with jelly today. What do you want from me? Whole grain, healthy jelly. It's healthy because it has the fruit chunks in it. My preference would be the jelly, the jelly that comes out of a computer. That's with all the artificial stuff that's 100% smooth. That's my preference, but no, I'm being healthy to try to lower the cholesterol so that I can live longer. So then, when I'm 80, I can look back to when I was 40 and remember the times when I was fantasizing about how great it would be to be 80. As soon as I mentioned what I ate, my stomach hurt. I think my stomach is listening to me right now. I just said, yeah, I had 2 pieces of toast, and my stomach said, oh, you mean just all carbs and sugar? Yeah, I noticed. You're going to pay for that. Thanks for reminding me. I need to torture you now. Instead of doing what you should be doing and eating an all vegan keto whatever. I think keto involves protein. You should be eating off of the grass, but only of the lawns that are not the artificial lawns, just the weeds. You should just be eating the weeds. That's all you should be doing, eating the weeds. I think that's a good place to end it. I think we're going to end it there. I'm feeling good. Oh, there's an ambulance. What a positive note to end on.